How do you find the best 1440p gaming monitor? Well, you could just trust the hive mind and get what's popular on Amazon and such. I mean, over 2,000 people bought this monitor from Acer last month in the US alone, and over 1,000 people bought this one. So these have to be good, right? I mean, all these people wouldn't just buy a random monitor online just because the listing claims it's blazing fast or has rapid response times of just 0.5 milliseconds, right? And let's not forget the stunning contrast with HDR that this $200 and something monitor is promising. Well, we're gonna test that. I got 3 of the most popular 1440p gaming monitors right here, and we're gonna compare these side by side. And yeah, out of the box, these look pretty different, as you can see. And that's despite of how similar these actually are in terms of specs. All 3 are 27-inch monitors, run at 180 Hz, have terrible names that I'm not gonna read out, and these usually can be had in the $200 to $300 price range. I'll link them in the video description if you wanna check the current pricing in your region, or if you want to pick one of these up. Question really is though, is any of these 3 monitors actually worth picking up? Why the hell are people buying these monitors? And yeah, I'm a bit concerned to be honest, because for the Acer, there's not a single review about this monitor on YouTube, which is crazy given how popular it is on Amazon. And the Asus, there is at least some content, really not a lot though. But at least this is the latest iteration of the ultra popular VG27AQ series by Asus, which has a bit of a track record when it comes to good budget monitors, so this could be a decent monitor too. Still, my guess is the reason why people are buying these is because they're cheap. These monitors are from recognizable brand names, and these rank high on Amazon. The AOC really is the only monitor of these 3 that I'm confident that people are buying this because it's actually being recommended by lots of different reviewers.
Should you buy this monitor? Short answer, yes.
I absolutely love the AOC Q27 G3 XMN.
At this price point, it's genuinely impressive and easy to recommend.
I definitely have high expectations for this one. So, what about the image quality of these 3? Now, comparing them side by side, it's very obvious that the same video looks different on these 3. This is with default out-of-the-box settings, but I dialed up the brightness to 100%. And clearly, the AOC in the middle is the brightest of the bunch, by quite a bit, which immediately makes it look better than the other 2. With over 600 nits, it's easily among the brightest monitors in this class, and it really makes the Asus on the left look grey almost. In the lowest brightness setting, the AOC still is the brightest of the bunch. I wish it would go a bit lower, but realistically, that's fine for most people when using this monitor at night. What really gets interesting is when we're comparing these at the same brightness level. This levels the playing field, but this also makes it more obvious that either of these 3 monitors has a color tint. Look at how different the clouds look. It's clearly not the same white. And the measurements confirm that. Ideally, you want this value to be below 1.5 for accurate white. Fortunately, you can adjust the white balance on either of these monitors. So we're gonna do that, and we'll be using optimized settings from here on. Not fully calibrated with ICC profiles and such, but I made these monitors as color accurate as they can be by just using the OSD menus. I have the recommended settings that I'm using here linked in the description down below for each of these monitors. Now, with optimized settings at the same brightness level, I gotta say, these look pretty similar. Like sure, if you look super closely, you'll be able to spot a few minor differences here and there. Like, for instance, blue looks ever so slightly more purple on the Asus, and greens are slightly less saturated on the Acer, but that's nitpicking at this point. Technically, the Acer on the right has the most accurate colors of the bunch. It's actually very color accurate, which is pretty impressive given how affordable this monitor is. So it wins the color accuracy comparison. But yeah, the other 2 really aren't that far off, and it's kinda hard to spot the differences even when directly comparing these side by side. However, you'll be able to notice this. This is what black looks like on these 3 monitors, and it's very clear that the AOC in the middle has a much better black level than the other 2. The contrast ratio I measured for the AOC is 3 times higher than that of the other 2. And that's because this monitor is actually using a VA panel, while the other 2 are using IPS panels. Now, of course, VA panels have some drawbacks when it comes to response times and such, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. But yeah, it's really no competition when it comes to contrast. And you can see that. In dark scenes like this one from Amazon's Fallout, the AOC just looks much better with deeper, richer blacks. Fallout also has these huge black bars thanks to the anamorphic 2.39:1 aspect ratio, so you can actually spot some bright areas in the black bars on the Asus and Acer, which can be a bit distracting while watching the show. But yeah, that was SDR. HDR is where the AOC can really flex its muscles, because it not only has this contrasty VA panel and gets super bright, but it also has a mini LED backlight. That's pretty crazy at this price point. Mind you, it only has 336 dimming zones, that's not a lot. But yeah, the other two only have a conventional backlight and can't do any dimming at all, so that's still a huge advantage. Take a look at how gray the black areas look on the other two monitors. It's really no competition. Sure, the dimming on the AOC is clearly not perfect. It dims way down when only small details need to be bright, and you can definitely see some blooming and high contrast scenes due to how large the individual zones are. But it's 100% good enough to make watching movies or a good show much more enjoyable. And we haven't even touched on brightness yet. Because while the maximum brightness of the Asus and Acer stays roughly the same in HDR and SDR, the AOC gets even brighter in its HDR mode. It's actually ridiculous how much brighter the AOC can get. Like, side by side, it's really no comparison. On the AOC, those bright stage lights make you squint your eyes, while those lights just look dull on the other two. So for content consumption, especially in HDR, the AOC is the very clear winner. What about gaming though? I mean, VA panels aren't exactly known for their fast response times, and typically IPS is the better choice if you're serious about gaming. And yeah, these two IPS monitors, despite both being rather affordable, are actually pretty fast and great for gaming. Both measure sub 6 milliseconds response time averages, which is pretty good with this strict testing methodology. That's only about a millisecond slower than the fastest IPS panels of this class, which often are a bit more expensive. The AOC really doesn't perform too bad either, but we do get more overshoot and some transitions take quite a bit longer. And you can actually see that while gaming. Things that move across the screen fast leave a bit of a dark trail on the AOC. That's very typical for VA panels and gets worse the darker the image gets. You can see quite a bit of smearing in the dark track here. And that's definitely noticeable in game, but it's not unplayable by any means. I still enjoy playing Valorant on this monitor, and I don't think this is really holding me back. Also, in case you're wondering, latency is good on either monitor. Both the Asus and Acer are as fast as a 180Hz monitor even can be, which is great to see, and the AOC performs good as well. So I don't mind playing competitive games on the AOC. Given the choice though, I'd prefer one of the IPS panels for FPS gaming, just because of the dark level smearing on the AOC. And that's a bit unfortunate, because the AOC clearly is the better monitor for content consumption. It's actually surprisingly good for the price, and I can totally understand why it is so popular. If you like watching videos, movies or shows on your monitor and want something that doesn't break the bank, this is amazing. It wouldn't be my first choice for gaming though. If you don't really care about watching HDR videos and stuff, but want faster response times with less smearing, an IPS monitor is the better choice. And this Acer is actually a very good budget option. It's fast, bright, has good colors, and it usually can be had for roughly 200 US. I can definitely recommend this monitor. It's also a better option than the Asus. The Asus is actually not a bad monitor either, but the Acer beats it in almost every category, and it's typically less expensive, so it makes more sense to go for the Acer instead. So that's 2 out of 3 monitors being really good, with the remaining monitor being pretty decent too. I guess after all, the people on Amazon were kinda right about these. Not sure if they actually knew they were buying good monitors or if it was just luck, but I'm glad to see that the thousands of people that buy these monitors every month actually get something good for their money. Thanks for watching, man sieht sich im nächsten Video.